Hi, and welcome to M&M Reviews. My name is Rita.
And I am Mirage, and we're gonna review the Snyder Cut of the Justice League. And this review is gonna have the following format. First, I, as a person who is an initiated DC fan, and as someone who has reviewed, or like who has watched the previous Justice League, will review it, or like tell you the 5 things about why I think it's a good movie and a lot better than the Justice League. Then I will tell you why I think it's still gonna be like overrated. And then Rita as a...
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the original Justice League, so I will just review this movie as like a standalone 4-hour Justice League movie.
Yeah.
And I also don't know that much about the DC universe.
But you have watched
So I
Man
think I
of
have
Steel.
a good take on, I
Yeah.
have a good external take.
Yes, exactly.
And then we just like chat because we love to chat.
We love to
We
chat.
love to chat.
We love to chat.
We love to chat.
So, what are the 5 things about this? Like, so first of all, let me say, I think like this like Snyder Cut is like a lot better than
Can you
like,
show it one more time?
a lot better
Like a lot.
than the Whedon Cut. And I think it's like a good movie. So what are the 5 things that like makes it so much better than the Whedon Cut? First of all, I think like the cinematography is like a lot better. That is just to say like the angle of the scenes and the color palette in which they are shot is just like a lot better. And it was actually really like amazing to see the difference the camera angle and color palette can have on a scene. So that was just really, I mean, Whedon's this like orange color palette is like awful.
What scene did you like especially notice, like the change in like the way it was the cut?
Oh, I mean, it was
Shot.
like a lot of scene, but for example, just like the entire general like last fight scene is like cut way better, and the color palette is like so much more, makes such a difference there. Because in the Whedon cut, the last action scene,
Mhm.
I meant, it's like orange and weird, but here it's like has this like neutral darkness to it that fit way better. Another scene is, for example, when the Amazons are. When Steppenwolf arrives in the guarded building where the Amazon has the mother box, that is also just has a way better color palette and is shot from way better angles. So that was really interesting, and that's like just interesting the difference that can make, and that's one thing that really makes this movie a lot better. The second thing is like the sequencing of scenes in this movie. So I feel like there's a lot of like similar scenes, and there are a lot of additional scenes that we didn't use. Even when you just look at the scenes that exist in like both movies, the way they're sequenced in the movie, like placed in the order.
Wow, so they were like they were like shuffled around?
Yeah, the scenes were like shuffled around in between the movies.
Okay, so like what's one scene order swap that you really noticed?
Oh, so for example, like when Wonder Woman goes to pick up, or like her initial meeting with Cyborg happens at a completely different place in the movie, and like Batman's like meeting with Aquaman, initial meeting with Aquaman also happens at.
Okay.
So there's like a lot of that happens at different places. So I think that. Oh yeah, and like for example in the original movie, there is like some scene of the Whedon cut. There's a scene where like Wonder Woman is like. Helping Batman with a dislocated shoulder after a fight, and that's like in between. I think if I remember correctly, it's either in between their first fight with Steppenwolf or in between when they get knocked around by Superman. But that scene just really like disturbs the flow of the movie, and it's not here. So things like that. So the sequencing of scenes was a lot better. Thirdly, I thought the score was like a lot better, like the music score. They really introduced this like new wonderful Wonder Woman score. And I thought that was really good. The fourth thing that makes this a lot better is I feel like Snyder has like a way better like understanding of the character he's trying to portray, right? So the characters feels like way more coherent throughout the movie. And this really actually impacts the scene. So for example, in the first movie, I thought Aquaman was like terrible in the Whedon cut. He was like so cringeworthy, and he's like, with his like booyah and like hell yeah. But they actually like really work in the Snyder cut, and that got me thinking that Well, the reason they really work is because like there isn't this like discrepancy in between how Aquaman is portrayed in the Snyder Cut, and there was that discrepancy in the Whedon cut. So I think that really like he has just a way better take on the character. Obviously, the big one is Batman, and I still have some problems with Batman being like the leader of the team and being this like warm-hearted person with like large spirit about hope. I still think that doesn't make sense. But I mean, in the previous movie, in the Whedon cut, he's like also like cracking jokes, like he's like a funny guy.
That's so cringe. That makes me want to cringe.
Yeah, it was really cringe when I watched the Whedon cut. So that was the fourth thing, is that they just have a way better take on the character here. And I just want to note, I think like all of this really comes to fruition in like the scene where, for example, Aquaman is in the end fight scene with Steppenwolf and Aquaman, and he's like, hell yeah, or like when Superman arrives, right?
Mm-hmm.
That scene was so cringed. It was so cringe-inducing in the Whedon cut.
Like the pain in your face.
Yeah, I remember I just like really like almost walked out of the cinema when I watched it.
Really?
But yeah, I was like so close. I was so close to walking out at that point. But here the scene really works, and it's because of like the different. It's filmed. It has a different angle to it, a different color palette to it. It's because of like where it happens in the order of the previous scenes to it. It's because Aquaman feels like a more coherent character that would do that. So that like scene in itself really shows all the difference. But the fifth and final thing that just makes this movie a lot better than the Whedon cut is that this movie just has a story to it. Like it actually feels like there's like a progress. It has like a beginning, and I guess it has like 6 parts, but you know, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and there's like a story that like naturally flows throughout the movie. And I think like I'm gonna talk a bit more about that in when I think why this movie might be overrated. But let me just say for now, I think the story is there, even though. And I think it would have been there even if the movie was shorter. Which is to say, I think that even if it was like comparable in length to the Whedon movie, the story, but it was like Snyder's input on all the scenes and like the ordering of the scenes, it would still have been like a better told story than it is in the Whedon movie. So those are the 5 things which I think make it a good movie and a lot better than the Whedon
Wait,
cut.
so there was like no story? No, like I didn't get this
No, it's
first
like
point.
the last point is that the Whedon cut is just like, I mean, it's interesting because like both the Whedon cut and the Snyder cut have so like the same basic premise. There is an invasion coming. They need to find. Batman is trying to assemble a team. He assembles a team. They get their ass kicked by Steppenwolf. They have to resurrect Superman, and they have a final battle. So that's like the same, but just like in the Whedon cut, it doesn't feel like there is like there's a story underneath it all. It just feels like there's this like they're just doing it. If you get what I mean, it's like it's in the Whedon cut. It's like terrible scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is like a collection of scenes, and there's no like smooth transition in between, and that creates that like feeling of that you're like as a viewer is flowing with the story.
Okay, so like there's no story in a sense, like you don't understand how they get from like
exactly.
being beaten up
Yeah.
to like then like resurrecting Superman.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
okay.
Cause
Yeah,
like,
so it's hard for me. Sorry, it was hard for me
Yeah,
to
no,
imagine
because like
it.
I mean, each story has like certain pillars to the story, and it has like A, B, and C, for example. And the A, B, and C are the same in both movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay,
But
so
the
the major plot points. Okay.
Yeah, but the transitioning from A to B, you need like A1, A2, A3, right? And those things aren't just really there in the Whedon cut, but they're there in the Snyder cut.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you're saying that you don't think it's just because they made the movie longer and added
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things
exactly,
in,
yeah.
but it's more like he has an image of
Yeah,
what, okay.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So I
I
don't
get it.
think. I mean, I think it's benefits from being longer, obviously. But I think, the image of what this movie is supposed to be about is what makes the difference.
But like, why didn't Joss Whedon like have any like? What was his problem?
I mean, I don't really know. I think like perhaps it was just that he came in too late, and perhaps he didn't care. He was just in it for the cash grab. Because they must have paid him a lot of money to come in so late on a project and attach his name to it. You know. Actually, I think at this point you should like tell me, do your review of the movie, and then I discuss what I think is like overrated.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think like my overall review is like, I'm like very satisfied with the movie, which is surprising because like I'm not really that into the DC universe very much. I don't know. And yeah, it's like a 4-hour movie, and there is no 4-hour movie. Maybe Return of the King, and that's like, you know, one of the greatest movies. So I was like kind of skeptical, but I was really happy with it. It didn't feel like a very long movie. Like, I mean, like obviously like the time really went by, but it wasn't like, I never felt like they were like dragging it out. So overall, yeah.
Yeah, good.
I liked it. It's like, yeah, I don't know. So I guess it wasn't like great though.
Would you watch it again?
Like maybe like, you know, like over like Christmas or something, where you just want to like be in the couch for 4 hours, you know, like maybe I would watch it again. It's like, why not? But it was way too much. It really felt like they were trying to squeeze in like 8 movies into one. Kind of like they were like, oh, like the Thanos like plotline, maybe we could just have, you know, the DC equivalent, you know? Because it was like the mother boxes and the, what's his name?
Darkseid and
the anti-life equation. It was just like a lot. So I felt that was a bit like overloaded. So I thought like that I can't really give like a great review on this. So I thought I will just like summarize a bit the things I liked and disliked.
Yeah, that sounds good.
One thing I really disliked was everything in the epilogue. I really felt
the epilogue
that was
so
a bit
bad.
like of a Lord of the Rings moment where you're just like, the movie's over now. Why don't you just let go?
Yeah.
Just stop. So it really upset me. And it really was like, but you know what a good movie is like, so why are you doing this to me? And it was really a bit of what I think like DC, they have a bit of this like loser mentality, like the DC shadow. It's just like an inability and like a fear of making good movies. I think really permeates all their projects, and I talk about this a lot. I really think it was like, the movie was like too good, so they just had to. Or like Jared Leto like literally threatened to like, I don't know, burn down the studio if they didn't put him in the movie. I don't know, like something must have happened there, I feel, for this to have occurred. Yeah. So the epilogue was a huge madness for me.
The epilogue was horrible.
And then like another minus for me was a bit like, I didn't get this like Batman playing this like I know I just compare this so much to Marvel because I like Marvel, but it's like here it felt like Batman was being some sort of Iron Man character, like he was going around and gathering people, and he was like wearing a suit and acting like a normal person. But it was like, no, you're crazy. You're literally insane. That's your whole shtick. You dress up like a bat because you're so disturbed. So it was like, why are you pretending? Like you're like, I don't know, like Daddy Batman all of a sudden. So I felt like it was just really bizarre. I just didn't like it. No. But it was a bit like they needed somebody to be this neutral. But then it was like, why didn't Wonder Woman just do it if you needed some neutral parent type to gather up the kids? Yeah. So okay, that was just like a bit weird for me because I didn't feel like that made sense for Batman. He was just like, he was being kind of cute. Yeah. He was like, Batman isn't cute. He's like insane. He's crazy. He's unhinged. Crazy. He's completely unhinged. Yeah. What was unhinged here? Yeah. Nothing was unhinged. What I really liked was Aquaman in the movie. I felt like, you know, they gave him this really like watery energy. You know, he was really like kind of this, you know, like he was really like this like the tortured soul out on his own, you know, grappling with his past. But it was also like the way he related to other people was very much like, he just has this like sense of what he likes and what he doesn't like, and what he thinks is good and what he doesn't think is good, you know, and he just kind of like flowing with the thing and being very like authentic, kind of from the heart in like a manly way. And I thought that was really nice. I was like, I'm kind of getting it more because I don't feel like they were quite there with that in the Aquaman movie.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like this portrayal of Aquaman more than in the Aquaman.
And then the thing I really liked about the movie, obviously, since I'm a huge Wonder Woman fan, is I thought Wonder Woman was really good. And Wonder Woman 1984 is garbage dump in my heart.
Would you say it's dog shit?
I would, in my heart.
Yeah.
because I was so excited because I love Wonder Woman. But I really liked Wonder Woman in this movie. She was like being capable.
Yeah. Powerful.
I also liked her music. I just thought that she got to be like very cool.
Yeah.
And she was doing cool stuff, and she wasn't being a weird, lame idiot. Except there was still some weird like incel parts where she's like, I lost someone I loved once. You know, and it was like, okay, bro, like this guy's like mom just died. Do you really think that's like the same? Like, you hooked
to
up
the guy
with
you slept with once.
you hooked up with this guy once and he died. It's like, but this is like a child and his parents just died. Come on. No, but that's fine. So that's just my small dig at Wonder Woman. That was like the main thing. I felt I really liked Cyborg. Really liked the Flash.
Cyborg is great.
Yeah, so I guess I just like what I really liked was I feel the movie. It had a great collection of characters who I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Their like personal psychology I felt was really well developed. So you like understood what they were about, except Batman, and that was like enjoyable. And I liked watching them do the thing, you know. Like the plot was fine. I guess I didn't like this like big villain. It just didn't captivate me. Yeah. But I liked the characters. I liked them doing the thing. The Flash was so cool.
Yeah. Would you say that the villains in the movie are a bit campy?
They're campy, but they're not like committed to being campy either. You know, I think that was the thing. It was like they couldn't decide if the villain was supposed to be like really scary, or just like like outrageous.
Yeah, I think like one thing that's like that I actually started thinking about yesterday that was like interesting because like we talked a bit about like how like the villains were a bit like off, and then Thanos, because like Darkseid, for those who don't know, he's like the equivalent of Thanos, or Thanos is the equivalent of him if you want to be real nitpicky, because I think Darkseid existed before Thanos in the respective comic book universes. But they're both the same in the way that they're like in the comic books, they're just like generically evil, really evil. Because Darkseid, his whole shtick is he wants to find the anti-life equation so he can literally like rule all of the universe.
This is so funny.
As his slaves.
The anti-life equation is here. It is burned into the earth.
It was really cringe. It was so campy. And Thanos, of course, his whole thing in the comic books is that he's like trying to gain the affection of Mistress Death. So he just goes around like murdering planets and saying, so it's like, and that's why.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love comic books. Oh my god, what a gift.
And but of course in the Marvel Cinematic Universe they made Thanos into literally the opposite of a generic villain, right? Yeah. They made him into this like almost anti-hero in a sense, because he has like a purpose that is like ostensibly good, and it's like also real different from all the other Marvel villains, which are like generically evil.
Hey, he's not like out for his own power.
Yeah. So this got me thinking, is like, is it just that we can't in these movies have like these villains that are just like through and through just like evil for the sake of evil? And I was like, no, but that doesn't make sense, because in Lord of the Rings, right, like the orcs and the Death Riders and the Sauron and the Sauron, they're all just like this evil for the sake of evil, and that really works. So I guess my question to you is like, why doesn't it work here, Given that it can be done, why did they fail to do it here?
I think like the thing was like Steppenwolf. Like I think that was the thing that was messed up. It wasn't Darkseid.
Okay.
It was Steppenwolf. Is they made him into this weird like, he's like really scary, but he's a little bitch at the same time. And I understand that he has to be like the little bitch to Darkseid, right? Yeah. But I feel like they just couldn't pull that off. Because it was like the Squidward guy from Marvel. Yeah. That seemed like what Steppenwolf was like. Yeah. But that was like way wrong, because he was supposed to be way more powerful, more scary.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah. I think that was like the thing. Steppenwolf, that was really lame. Like he was like scary with his armor, but he was all like, I will bathe in your tears, in your fear. And it's like, I didn't believe that like Steppenwolf really believes in himself.
Okay.
That's like my ultimate take. Yeah, I felt like he couldn't pull off like standing in a room with a bunch of Amazons being like, I will bathe in your fear.
Yeah.
And they're like, we have no fear. That was fun.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he still crushes them, but you don't believe it. You're like, I'm not sold.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I guess that's the thing. I really felt like somehow they didn't land his character. So he seemed a bit like pathetic to me. And then he didn't have the conviction of the ultimate evil and the ultimate I will do anything for power.
Yes.
So I think it's more like when you want to pull that off, there needs to be really like this like gravitas in the character of like just the depth of evil.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. I think that's a really good point. I think definitely also I really agree with the fact that like Darkseid suffers due to Steppenwolf being like so underdone. Because I guess like the reason if Steppenwolf was all of that which you said he should have been, and then they introduce him as Darkseid's bitch, you would have been more afraid of Darkseid. I think like for me also perhaps there's one thing is that the CGI of them are kind of like weird.
Yeah.
So it just becomes a bit like campy due to the CGI.
Yeah, Darkseid definitely looked it was like
really bad.
It looked like a Sesame Street blob.
Yeah, but I think one thing also for me at least is that they just have to lean even more into like the evilness of them.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing also. So like with Steppenwolf, so he has these like things which the winged guys that basically like can't be like killed or hurt.
Yeah.
And he has all these people, and he's like collected them and he has them hostage and he's like trying to find out if they know where the boxes are. If he's like the ultimate evil, like the moment he realizes they don't know, he just murders them, right? Because they mean literally nothing to him.
Yeah.
But it's like, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was just like, it was a bit like, okay, so why? It was like, sure, he throws like one guy into a wall, but it's like, why are these people alive if they don't know?
Yeah.
Like it just, so you like you do, like you don't want to kill too much.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, no, I
it was like the little things.
It was the little thing. I also thought it was like really weird, and I guess this is like a really small thing, but like a big thing in the movie. They didn't have their own villain music soundtrack, you know, because like that's like a thing that villains have, right? That's
yeah,
like
oh my god, yeah, you have to have. That's a must-have for a villain. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know the Darth Vader, do 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 do, and you know the Lord of the Rings. Oh, you know they need to have.
Oh my god, like Thanos things.
Yeah, the Thanos theme music.
Really spooks you out when you start thinking about it.
Okay, yeah.
I think the thing is they executed the villains very badly. But the heroes were very well done. So that's my overall review of the movie is I liked the heroes. I liked to see them doing stuff, but I didn't care about the villain. I didn't believe the villain, and so like the whole plot just seemed like an opportunity for the heroes to do stuff. But I liked watching them do stuff because it was cool, and I thought it was really well done, and I thought the acting was good by most of the heroes, and I enjoyed like they were cool, like Cyborg, you know, I don't know Cyborg, I don't really know the Flash, so I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
So that was like, I just enjoyed it. You know, so overall, great heroes, boring story.
Okay, so then the final part, I guess, is the most important part, some would say. Why this movie is bound to be overrated. And listen to me. This movie is gonna for sure be overrated. And I have 3 reasons for why that's the case. But first, before those reasons,
this is the most important.
it's so important to me. Before these reasons, let me set the context in which the reasons are situated in. Because you see, here at M&M Reviews, we're real smart.
And we're real smart.
Real smart. This is the context, right? The context is that this movie has a rabid fan following. Because this is like literally a movie where like the fans managed to bully a studio in to like re-releasing the movie. Like, do you get how big of a gamble that is for a studio? It's like it costs a lot of money, and if this is bad, they're just gonna look like complete retards.
Like such retards.
Yeah. Okay, but so that they have a large and rabid fan following. That's the context. Now, what are the reasons? 1, it is because it's going to get compared always in the analysis of the movie, it's always going to be compared to the Whedon cut. And like the Whedon cut is so terrible, right? It's like one of the worst superhero movies I've ever seen. It's like literally it's like worse. Like actually like the Whedon cut is like a lot worse than the latest Dark Phoenix movie. Yeah, no, it's true. It's like actually true.
That's hard for me to
Yeah,
imagine.
because both of them are like hot.
I struggle to imagine a movie that is a lot worse.
No, because like both of them are hot messes with no story. But in the Whedon cut, there's also not a single cool scene. But the Dark Phoenix at least has some cool scenes with Magneto doing.
Yeah.
Like there's like and still Quicksilver, you know. Yeah. So it's always gonna get compared to that, and
to the worst movie of all time.
To the worst movie of all time. And so they create this like relative, what is it called?
Deprivation.
Relative deprivation.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Where you believe it to be better because its most immediate neighboring movie is a movie that sucks so bad, right? And you even heard it in this review when I reviewed why I thought it was good. It was like in this comparative manner.
I was like, oh, it had a story. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that the movie had a story.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that it wasn't a weird orange color.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the threshold for it is so low, and it's like it literally just didn't have to suck, and it was a victory. Do you know what? Yeah.
But hey, that's like smart.
Okay,
Smart.
so that's the first reason. The second reason is because Zack Snyder, I feel like people are they're like proud of him. Okay, so listen to me. Zack Snyder, this is like the first movie he actually makes where there is like, where the movie is not just a collection of cool scenes, right? Arguably, he has made one other of those movies. Arguably, he's made two other of those movies, if you include his first zombie movie and the Batman vs Superman extended cut. But here, like he really like actually like pulled off a story and like the feeling of a story, right? And it's so rare for him to do that because he's just always the master of cool scenes without any story. That's like his shtick. So I feel like people are also gonna compare it to his like previous editions of himself, and they're gonna be like, wow, he really managed it. And that's also gonna further increase their perception of this movie. So those are the two first reasons. The third reason is because people are just so desperate at this point in time, right? Like in the world. Like, so first of all, they're really desperate just because we live in this corona world and it's awful and it's horrible and no one has been to like the cinema in forever. And this is like very close to a cinematic experience because it was like so like, because the reason the cinemas are so cool is because it's such a grand experience. You go there, the screen is so big, you know, it's like such a big theater. And there's also this community, like this micro community created in the cinema.
This is a really fresh take, I think.
Yeah, I know, I'm like real smart like that. Okay, so we have lost all of that. But all of that gets substituted into this movie in one way or another. And you feel like, oh, but why isn't that just true for every movie that comes out during this corona time? But here's the reason why that's not true. Because this movie, it's 4 hour long, right? So it like makes up for the lack of grandness at watching it in your home by being 4 hour long. Does that make sense? Yeah. And the second reason is because this movie also had such a like a push behind it, right? It was like so anticipated, so you get this like sense of community while watching this movie. And I feel like those two reasons are gonna make sure that like people further overrate it as a part of the reasons, as part of the general reason that, you know, it comes at such a good point in time with the corona stuff. So we really get like back some of that going to the cinema experience while watching this movie. But then the second part of the current context that influences like this movie is just the fact that I feel like people have been so desperate for a good DC movie, you know? And because like Wonder Woman 1984 sucked, Birds of Prey sucked, and I don't give a fuck what you say, because I know some people like Aquaman, but Aquaman sucked. So we haven't had a good DC movie since basically Wonder Woman
Which
1,
was so good.
which was so good. So I feel like people were so like primed to have a DC movie that didn't suck, and that's gonna further make them overrated.
Isn't the Joaquin Phoenix movie?
Oh, but that doesn't count.
Okay, but it is a DC.
Well, it is like DC because it's the property of DC.
But it's a proper DC. But
Yeah, but it's not like the DC in any other way.
Yeah.
So I feel like all those 3 reasons are gonna make sure that the movie gets like really overrated, especially
Okay,
given
so it's
the
more
context.
like, okay, so it's like, I hear what you're saying. So the reason movies can be overrated is because it is like a comeback in so many ways.
Yes.
It's like a comeback for DC.
Yeah.
It's a comeback for Zack Snyder.
And
it's a comeback for the Justice League.
Yeah.
And it's like a comeback for like
Humanity.
the feeling of being in the movies. And it's really primed because it's like 1 year of the Corona lockdown. So it's really like has all the conditions for people to like really be like, wow, what a movie. But ultimately, it is just like a 4-hour like okay movie.
It's a 4-hour okay movie. That's what it ultimately is. But people are gonna view it, mark my word, as like one of the great superhero movies of all time. I swear they're gonna. No, they're gonna do it. I promise. And I'm just like if you happen to watch this video at some point and you're like, no, you're wrong. It is a great movie. Just compare it to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Just compare it to Guardians of the Galaxy. Because Guardians of the Galaxy is a movie where you have like 5 superheroes, which is what you have here for the vast majority of the movies. And in Guardians of the Galaxy, you care more about each single individual hero in the movie. The villain is better, more compelling than the villain in this movie. And most importantly, the superhero unit, like that is the group, feels way more like a group.
Yeah, they feel more like a group.
And they pull that all off in a movie that is half the length and doesn't have any other previous editions with the superheroes.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I mean, but Guardians of the Galaxy is a great movie.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
But also, it's also interesting because like with the Ronin plot, it's also very similar to Justice League.
Yes, it is.
Because Ronin is a bit of Steppenwolf.
He is definitely exactly a bit of Steppenwolf, right?
Mm.
He has this like boss over him, who
the CEO.
The CEO, who's like the real big villain, and the real big villain is further like magnified as the real big villain by virtue of the fact that like Ronan is like spooked out by him, and that he like really like, I will bathe the starways in your blood, to Ronan, and Ronan's like, But simultaneously, Ronan also is similar to Steppenwolf, is that he wants to destroy a planet all of it simultaneously with this like big weapon.
Yeah.
So it's very similar, But it's like just way better in every way. And don't get me wrong, Guardians of the Galaxy, as you said, isn't just like a random superhero movie. It's a great superhero movie. But that's what I'm saying. Justice League, the Snyder Cut isn't great.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a great movie, but we are like, there's a lot of reasons for people to like
it.
Really overrate it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess that's about it for our review, and we can look forward to Justice League 2.
2, I guess.
Maybe.
Perhaps it will be 5 hours.
Are they gonna make separate movies for the Flash and Cyborg and stuff?
I don't know what's gonna happen.
I would love to see that. But it's like, what is Cyborg gonna do? Who's the villain to Cyborg? Like these mother boxes. It was like, so now it's like chit chat time of the review. But the mother boxes, it was like they were like, oh, this would be the greatest challenge like you've ever faced. You're just a boy. And these are the most like the supreme intelligent. And he goes in there and they're just like, oh, it's your parents, one of whom you hate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good point.
So it was like, and it was barely an inconvenience. It was barely an inconvenience.
It was barely an inconvenience for him. I mean,
he was like, I am not broken. I was like,
well, no, I mean, he has his own set of villains. I mean, he isn't like super popular. He's like more popular because he's a part of the Justice League. So I don't know if he's gonna get his own movie actually. Yeah. And
what about the Flash? Oh yeah, it's stuck in production.
Yeah, it's stuck. His movie's stuck in production.
I love the effects that they did for him running. That was so cool. I really liked that. You really felt I thought it was almost like cooler than Quicksilver in a way. I know that's controversial.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, nothing can beat like the iconic Quicksilver scenes.
Because there was no Flash scene that was that iconic. Yeah.
No. It was like. let me like rephrase.
Okay.
Obviously, Quicksilver, aka Ralph Boner.
Yeah.
Those scenes are completely iconic.
Yeah.
So there's like those scenes are not like as iconic.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the way it was like shot with the lightning and the way they showed like, I guess
it looked cool.
I felt really like you could like almost like imagine what it would be like to move like that.
Okay.
More.
Okay.
And
I
that
think
was,
I see
cool.
what you're saying.
That was like cool because I don't usually identify with the superheroes, but it was like I think they really showed it from like his POV like better.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. It kind of makes sense to me.
It was a bit more like you could understand what was going on with him.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I think I would like a Flash movie, but it's not gonna happen.
That guy's so weird also.
It's from Miller, yeah, he's a weird guy. He's like a weird actor.
He's a weird actor. What else? Since we're like in the chat part,
I kind of feel sad for Ben Affleck. Because like he really got to do a really good Batman in Batman vs Superman, and that had some parts that was like a bit problematic to some people. I mean, I didn't find. I think it's like the best Batman, but some people like think it's like too dark.
Mm-hmm.
And now some people like you and me are gonna think this edition of Batman is too light, and I feel like Batfleck has all the capacity to be like the perfect Batman.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's never gonna get to carry that out, so that's a bit sad.
It was like hilarious. There was like how they dressed him up in this movie. They kept changing his outfits, but also, I mean, they made him like,
so big.
This wide, and it was like, I mean, does he need to be like this wide?
Yeah. Oh yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so that's another thing I disliked about the Batman edition in this movie, because it felt to me like when they put on his armors, right, they made him like so wide.
So wide.
And I feel like part of the reason they were doing that is they were trying to like hide the fact that he doesn't have any powers. Because in Justice League you have the Batman problem. It's like, why is he there? But I feel like they went the wrong way. The way you do that is you actually strip him down to his like bare minimums. He just has like a basic suit, and then you just lean into the fact that there's nothing special about
he's
him.
Deranged. That's his
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You really lean into that and lean into the fact that he's like agile and really quick and mobile for a human being, and really like willing to go to any lengths, and like has all these like plans in his mind for every possible outcome. So, but this like the agile factor of Batman, which is big, the fact that he's like really clever and has all these plans, and the fact that he's like willing to go to any lengths, all kind of get undermined if you dress him up like in a big armor and make him look really wide, because he becomes so generic.
Yeah, exactly. He looked very generic.
Yeah.
And I felt like they were also just, they were not giving space for his like unhingedness.
No, yeah.
But that's a different part.
Yeah.
Let's see what else, like small things, because I like the chat part.
Yeah. I think like the Superman, Henry Cavill.
Oh yeah, oh my god, we haven't even talked about Superman at all in this video.
Just, you know.
What is there to say?
What is there to say? He doesn't feel like a good Superman still.
I just don't get what his like personality is. But maybe that's the thing. Maybe Superman like is meant to be really bland.
No, he's not meant to be really bland. That's the thing. Superman is meant to be like the beacon of hope. And whenever you watch Superman, read the Superman comic book, you're supposed to feel in your heart like, yes, this is the best humanity could be, you know. And you never feel that with Henry Cavill, because he's too into being hot, you know.
Yeah, it must be so weird to be Henry Cavill. Just looking so attractive and so completely generic at the same time. Just so generic. But I guess maybe he looks, as we said, generic because he has nothing going on in his personality. Yeah, so Superman, that was like boring. And also Lewis, I don't know, it's just miserable.
Yeah.
The whole leg thing.
Why did he bring back Lex in that one?
Oh my god!
It was so bad.
It's like nobody wants this. Like, is there anybody
who wants Jesse Eisenberg to be Lex Luthor? No, definitely no one wants.
Yeah, I think that's anyway. So there was definitely some big mistakes in this movie that didn't need to be there.
Yeah. But okay.
Yeah.
Let's summarize it.
let's summarize. The characters were great and fun, and they
Yeah.
had good psychology.
Yeah.
The shots and the scenes were made like pretty good.
Yeah.
There was like pretty good music.
Yeah.
There was like a story, even
Yeah.
though the story wasn't like great or compelling. So it was a really enjoyable 4-hour movie in this dark Corona times.
And it's a lot better than the Whedon cut, but it's bound to get overrated.
Because people are just so thirsty.
Yeah.
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 Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.